Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. I am here today with a Wonder Recipe number 2 for you. If you're not familiar with the Wonder Recipe was designed by me to help me make more cards more efficiently. So in this Wonder Recipe number 2, we are going to use one sheet of 6x6 designer series paper to make 6 cards. I've got 5 here. We're going to make the 6th one. The Wonder Recipe is a cutting diagram that works kind of like a one-sheet wonder, but it's with a 6x6 to start with. Okay, so let's get started here. I've got this cute card, and if you'd like to make one like this at home, you'll need some supplies. So let's talk about those first. I've got the triple banner punch, and then I've got the Petite Petals stamp set and the matching punch. These are all Stampin Up products, so you can learn more about Stampin Up or get your Stampin Up supplies at KitchenTableStamper.com. We're using Hey Chick from Celebration. Isn't that a funny stamp set? All right, the large dots embossing folder and a couple of die sets. I have the layering circles. You see those a lot, don't you? I love this die set. And these are back in stock. They're orderable again. This is the Stitch Shapes Framelits. They flew off the shelves when Stampin' Up! Introduced them, and now they're back. So if you were to say buy the Stitched Shapes, which layer so well with the layering circles, you would get Hey Chick for free because it's Celebration. Okay, so let's move on to our consumable supplies here. You'll need a sheet of 6x6 paper. I'm using Affectionately Yours, which comes 12 by 12, so I've cut it down to 6x6. You'll need 6 card bases for this Wonder Recipe. I've got Watermelon Wonder. It's 5.5 by 8, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I've got some Night of Navy cut with the layering circles. If you start out with a 3x3, you'll be okay with that. And same with the Whisper White. I cut it with the Stitched Shapes, and if you start with 3x3, you'll be all right. So you'll need 6 of those. These are the pieces that you're making when you do the cutting diagram from that 6x6 sheet of Affectionately Yours. You will also need a piece of crumb cake. This is 1/2 inch by 3 inches for your sentiment. I've got a button from the button jar. It's just a little brown button, and some linen thread. 10 inches per card. So remember, you'll need 6 of these if you're going to do all 6 from one sheet of paper. And then some Daffodil Delight. It's just for the little flower here, so you just need a scrap. A little bit will do, about 1/2 inch or 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, maybe a little bit more so you can handle the punch. All right. All right. So let me move these guys away. The first thing I'm going to do is run you through how to cut your 6x6 to get all 6 cards. Okay, I've got my Stampin Trimmer here, and it's really quite simple, this particular cutting diagram. What you're going to do is cut your 6-inch paper into 1-inch strips, so you'll have 6 of them. All right, so 6 strips, 6 cards, right? And this pattern, pretty. This is also from Affectionately Yours. A little bit different from the one that we're on the sample. All right, then I'm going to take 2 of these at a time because my trimmer can handle it, and we're going to cut off 2 1/4 inches. What that leaves you with is 3 3/4 by 1 and 2 1/4 by 1. Okay, so we've got all of our strips cut. And I'm going to go back to these 2 that I've already prepared. So with all 6 sets, you'll want to punch the banner triple punch. The sentiment panel also. And see, this works with even the smallest piece of paper as long as you turn it over and watch where you're punching. Now let's emboss the front of our card. What we're going to do is open up the card and put it into the folder. I like to line the edge of the card up with the embossed side of the folder. Okay, so we've got the dots where we like them, and now the big shot. We'll run that through. And there's our beautifully embossed card front. Now, let's do some stamping. Okay, let's do a little stamping. I've got some non-reactive brown ink here. And I'm gonna stamp my chicken. And then while she dries for just a second, I'm going to grab some Daffodil Delight and make a little flower embellishment for my card. So I got this polka dot little flower here. It's Daffodil Delight ink on Daffodil Delight cardstock. Punch that out. Okay, to color our chicken, I've got crumb cake ink. Somebody had asked me, how do you paint with the pads? And what you want to do is squeeze the lid to the pad, and that deposits some ink on the lid. Okay. All right, so I've got an aqua painter, water brush, and crumb cake. What I'm gonna do is bring some of that ink and water aside, because I want to start out a little bit lighter. My chicken's gonna be very light brown. And to mimic the texture of the feathers, I'm working in a little circular motion and skipping some space. I want some variation of lighter and darker. I want it to look real. As I move toward the center, my brush is cleaning itself off and giving me a lighter color. I'm going to add some full strength ink right in the wing there so it stands out. Okay, there, I think she's pretty cute. And clean my brush off on the work pad. Got a little bit of Daffodil Delight here. I'm just gonna add a little color to Chicky's face and get a nice strong yellow and touch inside the beak. And lastly, a little real red. All right. Okay. So I just thread the buttons so that both ends come through the front, and then I'll take a glue dot and adhere the button to the center of the flower, and then tie a bow. Here we go. I had 10 inches. I think that was too much, so I'll put 8 inches in the tutorial. I want the tails to be long, but we don't need to use quite that much. Let's stamp our little sentiment here. Well, this is still drying a bit. I've got some early espresso for my sentiment. And I'm going to stamp it far to the right. Now, I've got a watercolored image here, so it did warp the paper just a little bit, so I'm going to use a little fast fuse. And I'm going to adhere to my Night of Navy scallop. And then, since we're working on a texture, again, I'm using my fast fuse. I like that it grips even on the texture. Let me do this first. And you'll notice that I'm letting the edge of the banner hang off just a little bit so that I can put my banner at an angle. Using and highlighting both sides of the pattern paper. I get so upset when I got pretty paper and I have to cover one side. So this Wonder Recipe is a perfect way to use both sides of those beautiful papers. All right, now here I'm going to switch to some snail. Add my little sentiment. Glue dot for my flower. And then I'm going to flip the card over, and where those banners hang over, I'm going to cut them nice and clean. And there it is. There's our cards. 3, 4, 5, 6. All from that one sheet of Designer Series paper. Okay, so if you'd like to download the printable cutting guide for the Wonder Recipe number 2, head on over to kitchentablestamper.com. If you've got any questions about this project or about the Wonder Recipe or about this fantastic thing called Celebration with Stampin' Up, email me, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.